Hello, everyone. My guest today is Chris Lynde, and after co-founding a large retail chain in Chicago in the late 70s, he was persuaded by one of his mentors to get into the data, predictive analytics, and marketing technology space. 35 years later, he's developed a reputation as a thought leader and pioneer in his industry. He's launched a number of successful startups, and he's run large corporate divisions at public companies, including Equifax, Experian, MDC-Partners, and EDS Neodata. Chris, are you ready to take us to the top?
I sure am. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Tell us about SalesScout Data. What's the company do and how do you make money?
We are a software and data as a service company. We work with some of the biggest brands out there, CenturyLink, Mitel, RingCentral, Windstream, Iron Mountain, WeWork. We're in multiple verticals, obviously telco, we're in commercial real estate, we're in enterprise software, and a number of others. And the company was founded about 3 years ago by a guy who came out of commercial real estate. And we've morphed into much bigger verticals over the last 3 years. We've diversified our product mix significantly in the last six months, and we're growing.
And give me a general sense, the average customer, what are they paying you per year? I mean, are we talking $1,000, $1 million, 10,000?
So it can be anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 a year to as little as $5,000 to $10,000 a month, right? So it's all over the board.
Okay, so yeah, the range you just gave me was basically between $100,000 a year and $400,000 a year.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and I mean, would you say usually the lower end of those ranges is usually average? Would you say if I forced you into an average, would you say somewhere around $200,000?
I'd say somewhere around 100 to 100, okay. 150
okay.
On average.
And how are you? So the reason I asked that is I want to understand how you're pricing it. There's a lot of these companies popping up right now that are not pure play SaaS because they've got a data component as well, and you're selling batches of API calls or things like that. What are you pricing around?
Yeah, see, that's where we're different. So we price on a cost per lead basis. So if you subscribe to X number of leads per month, we charge you at a certain rate. So you get what you pay for, and you aren't subscribing to a data set that could include a bunch of titles and contacts that really are irrelevant to you.
Churn, though, with that kind of model typically gets high because 1 month people will need 1 million leads and the next month they scale down, they don't need any, or it's season around a holiday. So tell me about your churn and how you manage that.
Actually, we've had extremely low churn in the last, I started in March. We've lost one customer that just wasn't a good fit for us. So literally, we have almost imperceptible churn. Mm-hmm. The data business, if the data works well for a customer, they continue to come back for more and more. We are fanatical about accuracy. We have unique data components that we bring to the table. We have super high conversion rates, and that's why they keep coming back.
So when you say great churn, if I ask you about, annual revenue churn, you'd say what, less than 5% annually? I mean, how low is it?
I lost less than 2%.
Okay, less than 2% revenue churn annually, which means I imagine you're in the net negative revenue churn range, right? Your expansion more than outpaces the churn?
That's correct.
Yeah, interesting. What other pricing levers do you use to drive expansion revenue besides just more data? Do you have number of seats, additional features? Name some of those things.
Yeah, we're going to be morphing into a new model that is based on the number of users on the SaaS application, which is the sales intelligence piece of it. But right now, we are focused on growing the business, and we've diversified the data mix. We've outsourced a bunch of the work to the global crowd force, reduced a lot of costs on our end, while maintaining the quality. So we're focused on data sales right now. And interestingly enough, the sales intelligence platform is not the key piece of this. It's really about conversions. It's really about how a sales and marketing team drives pipeline growth and revenue. And they'll take the data straight in a CSV file and they'll import it into their Salesforce or Marketo system and run from there.
That's right. Now, what have you scaled to? Obviously, you just joined a year and a half ago, it sounds like, but Chris Silvestri launched it, I think you said 3 years ago. How many customers today are you serving?
We have 30 enterprise customers and roughly 70 smaller customers.
Okay. And so call it 100 total. I assume your enterprise folks are going to be more on that 400 grand ACV range. Your smaller guys are going to be more closer to the 100, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
To give you an idea of the growth, when I started, actually, it was March 1st of 2017. I was hired by the board after a round that was closed in September of 2016.
How much total raised?
$2.5 million.
Together, the whole company, or just that round?
Oh, no, just that round. It was a Series A round. One of the contingencies of that round was that they hire a CEO who comes out of the data space, and they brought me in. We grew at an average of 24% month over month for the last 6 months.
Can you annualize that for me? So in 2017, what was total growth?
Yeah, so let me give you an idea. I came in, we were at a run rate of $35,000 a month. We closed December at 260.
December 16?
Yeah, in 2017. So I came in March 1st. January 1st of that year, we were doing about $35,000 in revenue. In December of 2017, we finished at 260.
Yep.
We'll do about $3.5 million next year, $7 million after that, and 15 to 20 in 20.
You think you'll be doing about 3.5 million run rate at the end of this year, or 3.5 million per month?
3.5 million in total revenue.
Yeah, a run rate, an AR run rate. Yeah, so December 2018 revenue times 12, you think will be in that 3.5 range.
That's correct.
Which would put you around, what is that, 290 grand a month, something like that.
That's about right.
And today, it sounds like if you're growing 24% month over month, and you finished 2017 at 260, so you're doing today somewhere around 280, something like that?
That's correct.
Interesting. Where are you driving most of the customer growth from, or the revenue growth? Is it coming from upselling the current customer base or onboarding brand new customers?
A little bit of both. So we've had unbelievable expansion through customers who had such good experience with us. They've rolled it out to all their channel partners. We signed probably 10 to 12 new telcos just in the last 4 months as a result of that. We've been made the preferred partner for contact optimization, which is a critical piece to sales and marketing that's targeted to set accounts. You can't sell to the people you don't know. So we fill contacts for a lot of customers who just don't have visibility into the key decision makers. Mm-hmm. So we've been expanding. We've done a lot of different things on our product mix here.
Yeah. A last question on economics before I move forward kind of into more of the story-based stuff. You mentioned about 100 customers total, and you said minimum ACV was around 100 grand in your smaller segments. But
that's for the enterprise side. So
okay, got
there's a lower side. There's a mix of commercial real estate brokers that we have done business with. Our founder got his start in that space. They provide. We have an exclusive relationship with about 50 of these people who provide data that's very critical to other customers in other markets.
Got it. I was going to say, because at your current MRR of 280 divided by 100 customers, your ACV is about 2,800 a month on average.
Absolutely. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Got it. But growing, moving forward, as you go into enterprise, your first year ACV is much closer to the 100, 200, 300 mark.
That's correct.
Okay. Makes good sense. Why? So I want to learn more about you here. So you joined about a year ago. Were you an EIR at the firm that led the round? Or, how did you get brought in? Was there a search that happened right before it closed?
It was a search. And in our area here in the Boulder County area of Colorado, there is a high concentration of big data companies. Datalogix, which was acquired by Oracle, KVM.
Full Contact.
Yeah, they're all out here. And I know most of them, so I've got a bit of a reputation out here, as well as a number of other good people too. So the board approached me, and I took a look at this company, and I found a couple things interesting. So
like what?
Well, one, this company has not built its product on the back of a licensed data set. And you'll find that often in this business.
It's very incestual.
Exactly. So in the course of its business, the company had sourced all of its entire database. We have 10 million companies, 3.5 million decision makers. That's a completely different flip from most of the compilers. Most of the compilers will tell you they have 24 million companies, 50 to 60 million contacts. Well, the dirty little secret about this business is that 90% of those are non-employer-based companies, and companies that are selling B2B services to another company certainly don't want to target other companies with no employees.
It's like a sole founder with a cookie shop.
That's exactly right. An LLC, a website, et cetera, et cetera. So there's actually 25 million companies, and this is U.S. Census data, 25 million companies, 19 million of those have no employees, 6 million of those are actual firms, and there are about 8 to 9 million companies with actual employees in different locations. So those are the establishments.
Yep. Now,
if you look at the total number of people who are employed in the United States, it's 124 million. So a company that tells you they have 24 million companies and 50 to 60 million contacts, I can assure you they are all decision makers. Right?
So just to be clear, I want to get this on record. You don't pay Clearbit. You don't pay Full Contact. You don't pay for anyone else's data to make yours more robust. You have your own web scrapers, your own sources.
We do it all entirely ourselves. We have our exclusive data relationships. We have our proprietary systems and analytics, and then we combine it with human verification, which is really where the magic occurs. You can only take technology so far.
What's your team size today? How do you do that at scale?
It's roughly 20 people here in the Colorado area. We have a couple out in Arizona, and we have a scalable workforce that kind of expands and contracts depend on the customer demands. And we do that in places like Macedonia and Bangladesh and Pakistan.
How many, sorry?
So 20 here in Colorado, 2 in Arizona. We're hiring about 4 or 5 more. And we've got 20 to 25 people in the global workforce.
Okay. Some economics questions here before we wrap up, Chris. CAC, what are you spending to acquire these customers?
Very, very little. We eat our own dog food.
Less than what?
Pardon me?
Less than what?
Well, let's put it this way, Nathan. We didn't spend a dime on marketing last year. We had one person beating the street, and we saw that kind of growth. So
CAC is zero.
Yeah, near zero.
Near zero. Okay, now if you're going to raise more capital and grow this thing, many would argue you have to figure out how to use money to make more money. What would you say to that?
Yeah, so we're dialing in the marketing. We just hired a new VP of marketing, Jean Chen. She's coming to the table. Her job is we made a significant investment in Salesforce and Pardot. We're ramping up on the metrics. My job is to look at every single metric possible to understand what we're doing that works and what we shouldn't be doing that doesn't. And so we're ramping up our lead gen activities.
That's good. Now, what do you assume lifetime value is on these accounts? I know it's hard to predict, but what do you assume they're definitely worth?
It depends on who we're talking about. But,
your enterprise cohort.
The ones that we're talking about, I'd say that they are probably, for example, we've got a customer that's, $300,000 a year, and they've been with us for 3 years. They take calls from their competitors to tell them how well this data works. So, lifetime value, I would like to see 3 to 4, maybe $500,000.
Yep, makes good sense. And then and that rings true with what your churn stuff looks like as well. So let's wrap up here, Chris, with the famous 5. Number 1, what's the last business book you read?
Let's see, Loyalty Leap and Let's see. Well, I'm always reading books, but Good to Great, Jim Collins is a great book.
Number 2, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite big thinker in Boulder that you like to get coffee with?
Big thinker okay. So I'd love to do Sergey Brin.
You mean at Google?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sergey. Yeah. Number 3, name your favorite online tool for building your business besides your own.
For growing our business?
Yep.
Well, I'm an analytics guy, so I'm all over the BI. So it's Excel and Tableau and Looker and tools like that.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I'm working on 8, but I don't normally get it.
What do you get?
Probably closer to 5 or 6. I work all the time.
All right. And what's your situation, Chris? Married, single, you have kiddos?
I'm married to a beautiful wife who's very supportive of my work habits. And I've got 2 kids, a son and a daughter, Connor and Kaylee.
And how old are you?
I'm 61.
Last question, take us home. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
What do I wish my 20? Okay, well, first off, don't ever sell yourself short. Be fearless. Be courageous enough to walk away from the things that, aren't working for you. But, I think the most important thing is just always remembering you can do whatever you set your mind to.
There you have it from Chris. You can do whatever you set your mind to. Do not sell yourself short. He teamed up with another Chris who launched his company SalesScout in 2014. This Chris joined about a year ago when they were doing about 35 grand a month in revenue. They're now up to 260 grand a month in revenue using their own tool to drive most of that growth. Their team of 20 is based in Boulder. They're growing overseas teams, about 20 folks to do human checking on the data they're providing back to sales teams. They've got about 100 customers paying on average $2,800 a month, doing about 280 grand per month right now in revenue, less than 2% gross revenue churn annually, and negative net revenue annual churn. Chris, thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Thanks very much, Nathan. Have a good day.